we have received multiple NOC forms, which we are checking. We will float the list of those who require an NOC form, required to submit the NOC form soon. So I request you all to kindly submit NOC if you have not submitted yet. So let's start again. Dr. Rohit Kumar Shrivastava is working as Assistant Professor in Department of Commerce, Delhi School of Economics, University of Delhi. He has obtained his MCom and PhD degree from Department of Commerce, University of Delhi itself. He has a teaching experience of more than 10 years and his area of specialization are in finance and capital market. Prior to joining Department of Commerce, he was working in the Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar College, University of Delhi. He has, to his credit, more than 20 research papers published in Scopus, ABDC, and UGC listed journals. Also, he has more than 30 articles in reputed magazines. He has presented more than 30 papers in various national and international conferences organized by reputed organizations, and he has already 10 Best Paper Awards in his bag. He has also delivered various lectures as a research person in finance and research and IPO markets also in various workshops, FDPs, conferences, seminars, and webinars. We welcome you, sir. We welcome you to speak on session 5, which is based on the concept of credit score, debt payoff, KYC norms, UPI, and IPOs also. So we welcome you, sir. Looking forward for your ideas and insight. Over to you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for giving my brief introduction about my academics credentials and about my research papers. Thank you so much once again to ILLL and all the organizers who have given me the opportunity to speak here in the different perspective, which is altogether related to this financial literacy, because there are certain sort of terminologies that we are going to discuss today, like KYC, UPI, investing in IPOs, and other related terminologies that we have come across in our daily life. We have already heard these sort of terminologies, but we did not went into the details of the terminologies and their concepts, their basic rules, their fundamentals, and why these are so much necessary for all of us, since the vision or objective of this financial literacy is primarily, as I am able to understand, is that to inform the others, inform all the participants about the financial literacy programs, financially literate them or aware them with regard to the different sort of products, different services, financial, non-financial, and the other related aspects of the finance, which we are actually using in our day-to-day life. So considering this fact, let me begin my today's presentation. And since I have been given the different topics for presentation in today's session, which is ranging from credit score, UPI, KYC, and the IPO market. So I'll try to touch every aspect of the topics assigned to me, not in too much detail, but still I would try to take up every topic, every aspect of it. All right, so I hope that my screen is visible to all of you, all the participants, and let us begin with this presentation. So basically, if I talk about the credit score, KYC, or UPI, these are certain sort of terminologies that we have already used in our day-to-day life, and we have already seen that what is to be done and how we are going to consider all these sort of points as an important and necessary tools in our daily financial life. And considering even in fact this credit score, the KYC, the UPI, these have become the integral part and parcel of our daily life. Why so? Because of the fact that the kind of transactions and the kind of volume of transactions that are happening nowadays, specifically after demonetization or considering the post-COVID period, when most of the people are more interested in carrying the digital wallet, money in the digital wallet, rather than carrying the physical cash in their wallet. So this becomes very much necessary to understand that why these are very much you may say, the relevant and emerging terminologies and why we should focus more upon them. So beginning with this credit score, or you may say the credit aspect that we are able to understand, what this credit score or this CIBIL score is all about, and why it is very, very important, why we are thinking about this credit score always whenever we are going to apply for the loan. So see, let's say, for example, you are applying for a loan in a bank, and when you apply for a loan in a bank, it may be quite possible that the bank is either going to obviously accept it or reject it based upon your credit history and based upon the information that you are submitting. So what banks are doing is, banks are actually taking your information and checking your historical financial information and seeing that whether you qualifies for getting the loan or not, and how they're able to do it. So there is a mechanism which is called as CIBIL score. Now what this CIBIL is actually doing, it is actually helping us to assess the position of the borrower and then taking a right decision on the basis of the historical information of the borrower, that whether the person is going to be, let's say, repaying the loan or not, whether the person is going to make a willful default, or whether the person is going to make the whole loan process very much, repayment process very much cumbersome, or delayed payment will be there, defaults will be there, or some sort of expenditure has to be incurred by the bank for the purpose of recovering the loan amount. So these sort of things are being calculated by the bank as well on the basis of this CIBIL score. So what generally happens is that we apply for a loan, let's say, by filling a form, we submit it. Bank checks your CIBIL score, which is available with them, and hence this score actually decides whether you will get the approval of the loan or not. So if your score is very low, and let's say if you have made certain sort of default in the past as well, then of course bank is going to reject your application. It is being said that higher the CIBIL score, higher will be your eligibility for the purpose of getting the loan approved from the bank, which means that if you are going to follow a disciplined financial behavior, then of course your CIBIL score is going to be high. Otherwise, it may be low, it may be moderately low, and hence accordingly bank is going to decide what is to be done. So talking further about what this CIBIL is all about, basically the credit information company has been created in August 2000 for the purpose of gathering the financial information, or you may say the credit history or the financial credit history of the customers, so that a pool of information can be created and the decision based upon the information collected can be taken for the future transactions. So it was established by Government of India and the RBI. And what they are doing is actually they are collecting the information on the basis of your financial behavior, on the basis of whatever you are doing in the context of, let's say, financial transactions. If you're buying a product by taking a loan and then not repaying the loan of the loan that you have taken, then this is going to be registered or recorded in their information stream. And hence, they are going to create credit reports or credit information reports. And on the basis of the credit information reports, the credit scores are assigned. Now, these credit scores are actually deciding that whether you will get the loan or not, whether you have a very sound, disciplined way of, you may say, the behavior or not, and whether whenever you are going to apply for a loan will be accepted or rejected. So it actually helps the banks or financial institution to decide about your application, to approve your application, and of course to assess your position, your possibility of repaying the loan, and how sound you are financially, as well as repaying capacity, of the participant or the person who is applying for the same. And one more aspect of it is that, see, sometimes even the financial institution charges a different rate to different people based upon their credit history as well. It will be quite possible that, let's say, if you are applying for a loan, you are getting only 70% of the total amount that you require to buy an asset because you had a very bad credit history or CIBIL score. Whereas on the other hand, if somebody else is having a very good score, good CIBIL score, and it may be quite possible that he or she may get more than 80% or even 90% of the total amount that is required for the purpose of buying the assets or for the purpose of purchasing any sort of item that you require. So moving ahead, what we are able to understand with respect to the CIBIL is that there are 360 credit guarantors who are the members of this CIBIL, which includes 181 commercial banks, 25 the housing finance corporations, 10 financial institutions, then many more small financial institutions, non-banking financial institutions are also attached with them. If I talk about the historical data even, so there have been 4 million consumer records maintained in the year 2004. Now, this record has been increased to more than 40 million consumers nowadays. And what we are able to understand with these sort of records is that they are able to cater all the financial institution with respect to taking a decision related to an application or related to a person who is going to applying for a loan or who is going to, of course, taking any sort of borrowing in any respect. Now, this is actually creating not only a sound, calculated way of assessing the person's financial, let's say, repaying capacity, but it is also helping the banks and financial institutions to get away with those sort of peoples or those sort of applicants that may become NPA for the financial institutions or that may create losses to the financial institution. So with respect to the financial literacy, the program that everyone is attending here, and I am also be the part of this program. So what we are able to understand is that CIBIL score or the CIBIL is particularly going to help us to understand why this score is mandatory for all of us to get our application approved from the bank, and why this CIBIL score matters with respect to our financial behavior, our financial transactions, and our credit history per se. Furthermore, if I talk about the CIBIL, so there are 4 big institutions that are actually promoting it. The State Bank of India, which is of course the India's largest bank, is catering the need of this information information collection and dissemination. 40% are being carried out by this CIBIL stakeholder by the State Bank of India. Then 40% is taken over by HDFC Bank, which is again India's largest housing financial corporation bank. Then there is TransUnion carrying 10% of stake, and Dun and Bradstreet 10%. They are actually world's leading provider of B2B credit information. So business to business credit information is supplied by them all over the world. So they are also the party of this CIBIL, or you may say the promoters. With respect to the shareholding of CIBIL, we have many institutions that are the party of it. So you can see that the TransUnion International Incorporation having the 55% of shareholding in this CIBIL, as we have seen in the previous slide, that the TransUnion actually is the promoter and carrying the 10% of this information. But here, with respect to the shareholding, they have 55% of shares. Then followed by State Bank of India, which is carrying 10% of shares. Then 6% ICICI Bank, and there are 5 more players carrying 5% of stake per player and 4% by Aditya Birla Trustee Company. Now, who are the participants of CIBIL? So this company that has been created to gather the information of the participants or the people who are engaged in the financial transaction. So there are several participants of it, as I said in the beginning, that of course, who is going to utilize the information of yours that is being collected by them? Primarily the financial institution. And hence, we can say that the banks, financial institution, non-banking financial companies, housing finance, state finance, credit card companies, they are actually using these informations and then taking the decision to, let's say, approve or not to approve your application in general. So you must have seen that many a times when you are visiting, let's say, a shopping mall or a street market or any sort of public place. There are some people who are offering you the credit cards. They also get your form filled. But let's say after processing your application, they intimate you that your application is rejected just because you have had a lower CIBIL score. So what does it mean? It means that even if you are applying for a certain sort of instrument, even if you believe that you have a very good, financial position right now, you are able to repay the loan, but whatever you have done in the past, whatever had been your financial history is actually going to impact your present and future with regard to, of course, the loan as such, as a matter of consumer perspective. All right. So going ahead, let's understand that how does CIBIL actually operates? How CIBIL is operating and collecting the information, disseminating it, and utilizing the same for the purpose of providing the participants of the CIBIL the important information with respect to the customer's profile, their credit history, and of course, taking the decision on the basis of that. So let's say, for example, if you're able to see these folders, these are the, let's say, participants or the member institutions that are associated with the CIBIL. So they are collecting the information. So let's say if you are applying for a loan in SBI, or if you're applying for a loan in Bank of Baroda or any other bank or any other financial institution. So these members are actually collecting your information. And then we have, you may say, the central location or the central place where the information of yours is stored. And one particular place, that is the topmost authority, is going to disseminate the information on the request of the member institution to check your financial viability, your creditworthiness, whether you qualifies for getting the loan, or whether you are actually going to be a person who is going to make a willful default. So this is how they are actually doing it. Now, talking about the products and services that are associated with the CIBIL. So first of all, the product or the service offered by them is Consumer Credit Information Report. So the reports that they are preparing on the basis of the financial history of the participants is going to be created and going to be served by them to the customers who are supposed to, let's say, apply for the sale. So based on the individual borrower's information, what they are going to do is they're going to provide the information to the member participants, and the member participants are actually going to utilize this information to take the decision, the decision related to your application or your and the individual borrower's perspective. All right. Then the company portfolio review report is also created by them. And this is specifically, let's say, for example, for companies that are requesting CIBIL to prepare a report or to give them the report of certain customers. So what happens in general is that the Bigger institution does not, take the information in bits and pieces. What they want is a report with regard to the portfolio, with regard to the different customers that are visiting their businesses. So they are actually collecting the portfolio of the client and then taking the decision. It happens in general in the context of the loans application that are carrying very big amount. Let's say, for example, if you're going to apply for 100 crore, 200 crore, 500 crore. So of course, it's actually going to not only involve a bigger chunk of money, but it is also carrying a higher degree of risk as well, because of the fact that even if the person is well off, financially well off, still giving this much amount of money is always considered as risky from the perspective of the financial institution, and hence they want to assure this, that whatever amount they are going to disburse, that has to be repaid by the same person well in time. Then we have civil TransUnion score. So what the civil TransUnion score is all about, basically it is nothing but, you may say, the score assigned to you on the basis of your information. So if you have had a very bad financial history, if you made willful default, if you did not pay your loan on time, so these scores will be able to tell the institution that you should not be granted the loan by them. So basically, CIBIL has created 3-digit numeric, you may say, score, which is ranging from 300 to 900. Now it is said that the higher the score, the higher is the chances of approval of your loan. So let's say, for example, if you are going to apply for a loan, and if your CIBIL score is somewhere around 700 or more than 700, so there are high chances that your loan will be approved. But if you have, let's say, 300 or 301 or 350, 400 score, CIBIL score, then there are again high chances for not approval of your loan this time. So what we are able to believe is that CIBIL score, which is created by this CIBIL company on the basis of your historical past information, this is actually going to be a benchmark of your financial history. This is actually going to be considered a kind of your financial reputation, and hence it is going to either qualifies for you for a certain financial transaction, like in this case, it is a loan, or any sort of, you may say, the financial transaction that you are going to do, which is what we are understanding from the perspective of this point as such. All right. So this is an example of this CIBIL score indicator. It is being said that almost 79% of the loans are sanctioned in the case of CIBIL score having 750 and more than that. Obviously, you may say that, sir, if this 750 score is already obtained by somebody, then why it is only 79%? Why it is not 100%? So there are, other sort of informations apart from the CIBIL score that may or may not qualify you for the loan. It may be quite possible, let's say, for example, I'm going to apply to buy a home loan and I require, let's say, 50 lakh rupees. Now, the property that I'm buying is not registered, it is unauthorized. Even if my score is 900, let's say the highest, the bank is not going to give me the loan. So it does not mean that if I am having a very high CIBIL score, so there are higher chances that even if the activity that I am doing, the kind of loan, the purpose of the loan that I am taking, even if it is not, let's say, fulfilling the legality of the system, I'll be able to get the loan. It's not like this, which means that you have to have particularly a kind of, you may say, the legal framework justified as per their rules and standards. You cannot say that since your CIBIL score is very, very high, and hence you should be granted a loan. So it is actually a parameter to assess your financial strength, to assess your financial soundness, to assess your financial, you may say, the behavior. But it does not mean that you have a higher CIBIL score, so you will always get the loan. All right. So before going ahead further in this CIBIL score, I would like to make certain sort of interaction with all the participants. So I just forgot to tell you all in the beginning that I will be giving some sort of questions to all the participants to please participate and speak on, because if I'm going to speak only for the next 1 hour or 1.5 hours, so it will be a kind of a one-way communication. So I want that the participants should be indulging in this program. Otherwise, what's the point of having this sort of platform whereby only one is speaking and the other are only listening and they're not indulging with this sort of program. So what I would like to ask from all the participants here, those who are attending, that have you ever checked your CIBIL score, or have you ever tried to check your CIBIL score? Or did you ever come to know that what your CIBIL score was? So let me see how many yes are coming.
The participants can unmute themselves or they can write in the chat box.
You may write in chat box or you may unmute yourself as well. There is absolutely no doubt about it that you are free to use any of the methods that is available. Chat box, unmute, or whatever you think. So yes, both options are both the answers.
Sir, may I?
Yes, ma'am. Please go ahead.
Sir, I'm Dr. Pragati Mehra. Though I have never checked my CIBIL score, but I know since I'm working in a government organization, so I applied for the loan in a bank, and they were ready to give me the loan within 3 days. Just because I'm a government servant and I have a good level of salary. So I think they were quite sure that I would be able to, pay the loan. So maybe financial position is okay. They could see my bank statement also, but they never disclosed any kind of such score or something like that.
Okay. So did you get the loan?
Yes, sir. I got the loan.
And did you repay?
I didn't take the loan, but they approved the loan very quickly within 3 days.
Okay, all right. See, from the perspective of your point that you are saying or that you are mentioning here, I am very happy to see that at least you unmuted yourself and you try to explain your case in point. What we should understand here is that, see, although her loan was already been approved and her loan was, of course, approved by the bank, stating the reason that her this financial position or the financial behavior or financial repaying capacity is very good. But we must understand that making all these sort of made available before the let's say grantor of the loan is not going to be the sole decision criteria. Of course, CIBIL is also going to be attached for sure. There is absolutely no doubt about it. But see, banks are not going to disclose this information to you anyway. Why so? Because this is something which is, of course, personal, and this is used by them as an input for the purpose of taking the decision with regard to your application. But as I was asking in the beginning, the different sort of from the participant, the question that whether you have checked or not, many participants said no, only few people said yes. And there's a question from Dr. Vinita. What is the full form of CIBIL? Arun Julka has already given the answer of the same. Thank you so much. So CIBIL, full form of CIBIL
Yes, sir.
is?
I have also checked, sir.
Yes, sir.
Himanshu over this side.
Okay, Himanshu, I am happy to see you here. And so what we are able to understand is that, see, CIBIL score is generally being checked by the financial institution while you are applying for a loan, and they are not going to disclose it, of course. But it is not like this, that if you are going to, or if you want to know the CIBIL score, you cannot, let's say, get this information. You can get it for sure. What you are supposed to do is, you are supposed to visit the CIBIL website and apply for CIBIL report. You are supposed to pay the fees to them as well. They will charge a nominal fees, and then they will disclose the CIBIL score of yours as well. Even in fact, what I have seen in some cases, that let's say, for example, if you are applying for a loan and the bank is stating that you have made a default and hence your loan application is rejected. So this is a live case that I'm discussing that has happened in the past with somebody who is known to me. All right. So they have applied for a loan in the bank, and the bank has outrightly rejected their application, stating that you have already made a default of 5 lakh rupees of money. You did not pay it, and that's why your amount is already pending. Now that person did not take the loan ever in his history. So he was also very much, astonished to see that how can he will be able to be judged in this perspective that he had made default when he even did not take a single rupee of loan. So what we are able to see is that in these sort of cases, you can approach CIBIL website, you can collect the information by paying the requisite fees. So the same thing we did. We paid the fees, collected the information, and then the loan default information was also visible in that CIBIL score portfolio. So when you are applying for the CIBIL report, you will get the old data. When you are applying only for the CIBIL score, so you will get the score out of 900. So we applied for the report, and hence we were able to see that 2 loan applications were there, and the PAN number that was mentioned in that loan application belonged to the same person, but the name was different. It means that there was a case of forgery done by somebody else, which is again going to help us to understand this fact that we should never disclose our Aadhaar number and PAN card number to anybody, because it may be misused by somebody in this perspective as well. And I got to know that day that even the information like your PAN number can be manipulated in such a manner that your PAN number is there. The name of the person on that PAN number was something else, and somebody else took the loan on your name, on your PAN number, putting your PAN number, and now made a default, but you got caught. So it is better that you must, being the participant of this financial literacy program, you must apply for obtaining the CIBIL score. You can check your financial viability. If your score is 700 or 750 around this point, you are living a very sound financial disciplined life. If your score is, let's say, 300, 400, 500, you need to improve it. All right, there are certain sort of questions from the participants in the chat box. Let me see. Mohammed Shamim, you're saying how one can get approval for loan or credit card if that person has never been engaged in any credit activity. See, the case I was referring to was something else, and that the point that you are trying to make here is something else. So you are saying that if you have not taken any sort of loan in the past, then how you can get the credit card or let's say loan from the bank. So see, if this is the case that you are applying for the first time, so don't worry. The banks are already having this sort of information that this is going to be your first loan. You did not take any sort of loan. You were not indulged in any kind of credit transactions in the past. And hence now what you are supposed to do is you are supposed to take the loan and repay it on time. That's it. This is going to create the good CIBIL score of yours. Even in certain cases, specifically since you are talking about the credit card, I must tell you all that, let's say if you are having a credit card and if you are, let's say, failing to pay the bills on time, then it is also going to be related to the negative numbers of your CIBIL score. It is going to add negative value to your total overall CIBIL score. It is good that you must repay it on time. You pay the credit card bills on time. Let's say, for example, I came to know this case recently from somebody else associated with the credit card company, that let's say, for example, you have incurred 10,000 rupees of expenditure by, let's say, doing the shopping through the credit card. And the due date of the credit card bill is, let's say, 1st of next month. Now, since you have had the money today, you paid the money today itself. Now, if you are doing it, you should not do it then. You should purchase the products or services through debit card, but not credit card, if you intend to repay the amount immediately after spending from the credit card. Why so? Your credit history or the credit cycle of repayment will be established only when your bill is generated and when you are repaying it back. If you have already paid the bill, even before the generation of that bill as well. So there is actually no recording of this, your financial discipline, transaction or behavior in the CIBIL repository, which means that generation of bill, repaying on time. Now this is essential. If you are, let's say, for example, repaying your credit card bill immediately after purchasing from that credit card and without generation of the bill as well, before the generation of the bill, so it is actually going to add no value to your CIBIL score. So it is advisable, if you have this CIBIL credit card, pay the bill on time, but let the bill generate it. If you believe that since by the due date you will not be having that much amount of money, which is the due bill amount of your credit card, please try to follow the disciplined life. Please try to make sure that you are going to plan the payment of the bill of the credit card on time by, let's say, keeping aside that money, not utilizing that money during this free period. Because if you are doing it, then there is no point of having the credit card, because it is not going to add any sort of value to your credit score or CIBIL score. So taking few more questions, Dr. Om Prakash, sir, you are saying CIBIL can be checked free of cost from various wallet apps like so and so. Of course, you can go and check your CIBIL score from these apps. But I must tell you here, if you are using the CIBIL's website for the purpose of inquiring your CIBIL score, so the information is going to be between you and CIBIL. But if you are going to check free of cost the CIBIL score from all these sort of apps, you must remember this, that if you are getting something at free for which you are supposed to pay, then in that case, your information is going to be used by them to earn the revenue. So think over it. You'll be understanding this fact that you should not use these apps to get your credit score, which is very, very important information related to your financial life, just because you are saving few pennies. All right. So you should understand this point as well. So what basis they will approve my loan or credit card? See, for the purpose of approving your credit card loan, they are going to assess your financial viability. Since you are applying for the first time, so of course, you are going to apply your financial strength and your financial behavior, your financial position is also going to be assessed. Okay, so let's move ahead, guys. The credit score that we are going to have equal to 0 is associated with the credit history for the period less than 6 months. And you must understand that, yes, CIBIL charges 1200 per annum. Of course, CIBIL is charging the requisite fees for the purpose of getting the information, as I said in the beginning. But paying and getting the authentic information of yours without even, getting the risk of compromising of your data is much more, you may say, beneficial than not to pay anything and getting the CIBIL score and having the risk of, compromising of your financial information with somebody else as well. So let's say if the credit score is associated with the negative value, it means that the account information is not available. So what they generally do is they are actually going to create the repository of your credit history based on your financial activity. And hence, what we must do is we must pay the bills on time, pay all the loans on time, and we must not make any sort of default with regard to the loan case. One more thing that I would like to tell you here in this aspect is, let's say, if you are disclosing your important financial information, like your credit card details or your PAN number or your Aadhaar card nowadays, which is much utilized for the purpose of KYC activity, which you will see in the upcoming slide of my presentation, that these things can also be misused. And hence, it is actually going to make your credit history worse rather than making it good. So for the purpose of knowing your CIBIL score, what you need to do is, as I said, that you need to apply online, and it is advisable to apply only on the CIBIL website rather than applying on any other third-party sources. See, what happens in the case of third-party apps? They are also fetch your information from the CIBIL. Of course, they are not having the sole authority to, collect your information and then make score on the basis of your information, because they are actually nothing but the users of the information provided by the CIBIL. They are actually considered as the intermediary. But if you are going to apply through them, then of course, all the data that you are uploading, like PAN card, your bank details, and other sort of information, they are going to collect it and they may use it. You don't know for what purpose. All right. Then you need to pay the requisite processing fees. And of course, you need to follow this authentication process, and you'll be able to download your report. It will be emailed as well. And it's not like this that you are going to get only one-time information. You have a window period through which you can assess your information regularly. But after the expiry of the time period, you are supposed to repay them again, the requisite fees, and of course, you will be able to access the information. So what is the significance of this CIBIL score? As I told you earlier, that in general, it is being said that the more than 90% of the applications are accepted in between this 700% and 700 plus score. Approx 4.7% applications are accepted in the cases of CIBIL score having less than 650 score. And if your score is in between 750 to 799, you can say that, of course, you have a very good financial history, and of course, you have a very good score. But you may say that on an average, there is also a chance of getting your loan application rejected, even if you have this much of good score. So ideally, we believe that 700 is the benchmark in general. All right. Now, if I talk about the contents of the consumer credit information report, so what we generally get in the form of report is the borrower's information. So their personal information is also given, name and address, date of birth, telephone number, pen and passport detail, voter ID. But I must tell you here that in this case, the personal information that is visible here is actually based upon either your loan application that you have applied in the past, or the PAN card information, or the information available in the or submitted by you while applying the PAN card. So PAN card actually is used as a prime and important tool for the purpose of not only creating your CIBIL history, but also disseminating the information of the buyer. So the kind of account that you are going to get, so type of credit taken that you have already taken in the past, amount of credit that you have taken, outstanding current balance, and days of overdue payment. So as I told you just before, stating the case of one of my known, that we have been able to get this sort of information, and we have been able to track that somebody else was using the false information, and a police case was also filed against that person, and the credit history was removed. So even if your credit history, let's say, has been made bad by somebody else, you can request CIBIL, you can make an application to them, you can provide the relevant information asked by them, that why your credit history should be good, why this information should be removed from your CIBIL database, why this information does not belong to you. If you are going to give them the proper requisite documents, relevant documents, and the proper reply to their queries, so these informations, let's say, who has been associated with somebody else's account, but by mistake was attached to your account, will be removed for sure. So what we must understand here is that the information used by the financial institution from the commercial perspective is also going to have the personal information like the registration number, relationship details, borrower's inquiries, and the account details, and so on. Now, there are certain sort of things that are excluded from this credit information report, which is not disclosed to anybody and which is not even collected by CIBIL. Even if they are collecting, they are not disclosing to anybody. It is not a part of this CIBIL information report. So income or revenue details, that whether you are a rich person or poor, whether you are earning good amount of money or less, the amount deposited in the bank, the details of the borrower's assets, value of assets mortgage, these sort of information are excluded from this credit information report. So this is, you must see the CIBIL information report, sample report I have attached here for your information. So this is the benchmark index, and this 710 is something that you are able to see as your current details. So the person's name, address, and everything is given, and you can see that this CIBIL score is already generated. So this is a sample report. This is not the actual details of the person. So what do lenders look for in the CIR? So they are going to see the debt burden ratio, how much debt you have already taken, and now how much amount of money you are applying this time, and whether you will be in a position to repay it or not. Then the past payment behavior of yours, what has been your behavior in the past with regard to paying the money, with regard to looking into this perspective, that whether you had been making the default regularly or whether you have been repaying the amount of money or repaying the money of your loan. Then status of file suit against the borrowers, the credit score, of course, and the loan account or the credit card account as well. All right. Now, there are common errors that are also found in this credit information report. As I mentioned in that same very example, the wrong current balance or amount overdue can be there. Incorrect personal details can also be there as well. So what you can do is you can follow this dispute resolution process for rectification. So I told you that you need to apply for the correction in the CIBIL database by submitting the relevant document, and they will be in a situation, they will be in a situation to recorrect or amend your details. Only they can do it, because the parties of your financials, of your, let's say, credit institutions related aspects. Let's say if you are applying the loan with a bank, so the bank cannot alter your information. It can only access the information from the CIBIL. Only CIBIL has the authority to alter your information or amend the information, and that too only with the process of dispute resolution. They cannot arbitrarily write the information or add the information or incorporate the information. So in the case of dispute resolution process, you need to give the application and it will be initiated, and on the CIBIL website, they are going to make it all these sort of process completely online. You don't have to go anywhere. As I told you, you need to deposit the required document or ask documents asked by them. They are going to assess them, and if they are going to find your documents fit, then they are going to amend your information. They will make the necessary update, correction, and hence your CIBIL score or your CIBIL profile will become much more, you may say, financially sound and much more viable. All right. So talking about the benefits of CIBIL, there are many benefits associated with this CIBIL score, not only for the grantor of the loan, but the borrower as well. So for credit grantors, they are able to know in the beginning what is the credit history of the borrower. They are already able to know that how many loans are already being taken by you. It may be quite possible that your monthly income is 1 lakh rupees, but you have already taken the loan of 50 lakh rupees, and now you're again applying for 50 lakh rupees of loan. So in this case, if you are not disclosing this information, let's say, for example, intentionally, even if you're not disclosing it, the grantor of loan will be able to know it. And now, of course, with the help of CIBIL website. So they are going to maintain a competitive advantage for everyone. So it's not like this that, say, for example, you are visiting SDFC Bank, you are disclosing to them, but when you are visiting SBI Bank, you're not disclosing them the information. So they are actually creating this level playing field for everybody by providing the same information to all the members of the financial institution or members of the CIBIL. They are actually going to make it, let's say, a level playing field. Everybody is having the access to the same information, and hence everyone can take the decision with respect to what is to be done, how the decision related to your application can be processed. Then there is a lower cost of credit evaluation due to this automated decision making system, which is based upon the past information of yours. And of course, it is actually helping the financial institutions or the grantor of loan to process your application as well. Now, talking about the benefits for borrowers. So if you have a very good credit history and good CIBIL score, if you are having a very good paying capacity as well, so that's enough for the purpose of making you eligible to qualify for a loan. You must have seen that, let's say, for example, if you're using the credit card, that you must have received the email from the same company or from any other company that you are eligible for so much of loan, you are eligible for so and so kind of loan. Now, why they are sending you this sort of email, and why you only? Why not your, let's say, the younger siblings who are not earning the money? Why not anybody else? Because they have already getting this sort of information that you have a very good CIBIL score, you are having a very sound financial position, not in terms of course, wealth, which is not disclosed by CIBIL, but at least they are able to access this information, that how much amount of loan that you have already taken, the CIBIL score of yours, your profile, And hence, on the basis of that, they are judging your case and taking this sort of decision that they are offering you the loan. Otherwise, you can never see this sort of case that your CIBIL score is very, very poor. Your financial position is also not so sound, and still you are getting the, let's say, the calls for the purpose of taking the loan. Of course, exceptions are always there, but in general, it does not happen. So it is very, very helpful in the case of easy credit assessment and approval process. So your application is going to be processed swiftly, and you will be able to understand the power of your CIBIL score as well. So it becomes more responsible towards the financial commitments. So what impacts your CIBIL score? So 10% information associated with the types of credit used. 10% is related to the recent search of credit. 15% the length of credit history. So more longer credit history means that more impact is going to be there. So if you are highly responsible with the, let's say, the credit institutions or the credit instruments, you have taken the loan amount for a longer period of time, it is good. It is being said that if you are taking a loan for a longer period of time and repaying it regularly, it will add more value to your CIBIL score rather than taking a loan of, let's say, 10 lakh rupees and paying just in 1 month. Why so? Because the longer is the duration of your credit history, the more positive value is to be added to your CIBIL profile. And then the credit utilization, 30% is going to be there. So how much credit you are utilizing out of the amount allocated to you and how much you have repaid, it is actually going to add to the 30% of weightage to your CIBIL score. And last but not the least, the highest one, 35% composed of the payment history. So how often you miss your payments will have high impact on your credit report. So if you're not missed any, of course, this is a very good news, but if you are missing something, please do understand that it is going to add negative value to your profile. All right. So considering all these sort of points, so I would like to tell you here certain sort of points, and I want you to please take the decision and think about what is to be done in these sort of cases. So will the credit score get affected in the following cases? So let's discuss one by one. And I want all the participants to please participate in this brainstorming session. Delay in payment or non-payment of credit card dues. So I believe everybody will be able to say, you may say yes or no. Yes means it will affect, no means it will not affect. Let's see how many participants are active and they are
Yes, sir.
listening. Okay. Okay.
Yes, sir. I do. Even I have one query related to this. Can I ask at this moment?
Please. Go ahead.
I am, the Dr. Sandeep Garg from the Alsin College.
Okay, sir.
I just like this topic very much, and very interesting, and very, that one should know about this CIBIL score.
Thank you, sir.
My query is that one company, that unnecessarily issued a credit card to me.
Okay.
And for the last 2 years, they, sending me a minimum amount due letter to my email ID, and somehow, that at my, that my home place physically form. Now, I also written a letter to them that I have not used your credit card and I have never asked for any such credit card. My question to this, that does this transaction, of not making a payment to them, because they always, that every month they, they send the letter to my email ID that the minimum amount is due, that you haven't paid your credit card bill. So this is, this sort of thing maybe happen with, certain percentage of people that unnecessarily the credit card imposed to them, and companies are sending, a non-payment of their minimum amount. This is my query in how it, harm to my CIBIL score, and how I can, if it harms, so how what can I do to improve it so that it should not further damage my, the CIBIL score. This is my simple query. I hope that you will not mind that I have stopped you in between.
No problem at all. And thank you so much for your question. And I'm happy to see that at least the participants of my session are actively participating and giving their viewpoints as well. So coming to your question, I would like to first of all tell you that it is a general practice of the banks, specifically the private banks, that they issue the credit card to their customers, and they are actually believing this fact that out of 100 credit cards that they are issuing, even if 10 people are going to use it, they are able to make the revenue out of it. But what happens contrary to this aspect, the 90 people that are not using it, now they are supposed to make the payment of minimum due, of course, even if you're not charging, because of the fact that the credit card that has been issued to you, now this comes with the benefit of using certain amount of money with no interest period or free interest-free period. And hence you are supposed to pay at least the minimum due amount, or you may see the annual maintenance charge as well. Now, if this kind of case is happening with you, first of all, please, you must understand the process of disposing this type of cases. The first and foremost thing is that if you have not used that card, then you must have not, been charged a huge amount of minimum due, of course, for sure. Secondly, if you are not paying that amount of minimum amount charged by the bank to you, it is not harming them, but it is harming your credit profile. What you must do is, first of all, in writing, give an application to the bank that you did not apply for the same, you have been issued, and then pay that amount of money. Do not, make a mistake that you're not paying that minimum amount. Pay it, then apply for closure of or deactivation of that credit card. All right. Now, after this activity, what you are supposed to do is complain with the banking ombudsman. And then not only the amount of money that you have paid as a minimum due will be returned by the bank, but you will get the interest as well, penalty amount imposed by the banking ombudsman on that bank as well. See, the system says that if you have been offered something, if you're not rejecting it, it means you have accepted it. Hence, if the credit card has been issued, you must have had applied for cancellation of it immediately, or you must have informed the bank immediately at that point of time. Let's say for some or the other reasons you did not, let's say, inform the bank. So what they are believing is that you have already accepted that instrument, and hence now in this case you are party to this transaction. So if you're not paying the minimum amount of money, you will be treated as a person who is making the willful default. So talking about the CIBIL history, your CIBIL score will be hampered badly. Of course, you are not paying the minimum amount of due as per CIBIL. See, whatever is the case, maybe as per CIBIL, you are not paying the amount. So why I told you this process, to first file an application, then repay, and then complain against the bank before the banking ombudsman against the bank, because even the banking ombudsman will ask you, did you inform the bank? Have you had any sort of return proof? Did you wait for at least 1 month for the disposal of your case? If the answer to all these questions is no, So even the banking ombudsman will not do anything. So there is a process that you have to follow. If this is your case, then in that case, I would advise you to write an application to the bank manager, say the reason, explain them that you have never utilized this, you have never applied for this, and wait for the response, at least 1 month. Then pay the bill, and then start the process of filing the complaint against the bank with the banking ombudsman, and be assured that the resolution for your case will definitely be coming, because there are several cases like your cases that have happened in the past, and even there is a set of rule and guideline that the RBI has already released. So if you can follow those sort of guidelines, you will be able to not only get the refund of that minimum amount, but you will be also compensated for the mental harassment that has been done by the bank by charging you this minimum amount of money every time. All right. So yes.
Okay. Sir, after paying, the minimum amount due, it
Yes.
also means that I have accepted the thing which they have imposed. Fine. The one thing. Second thing is that the CIBIL score they have already damaged, by sending, the letter for non-payment. Will it be improved by this action? Because I will be, getting that. I will be getting. One thing is that I would be paying the amount I accepted. The second, that CIBIL score is already, get damaged because of this. So will it get repaired, and will it get some, I will get some benefit even that CIBIL score?
Sir, see, if you are following this procedure and if you have the judgment of the banking ombudsman, be assured that your CIBIL score will be improved. But again, then in that case, you need to apply for this the dispute resolution process that I explained just before, because without which even the CIBIL score of yours will not be improved. So it is very much mandatory for you to apply for the same, and be assured that the cases like yours are already being handled by them, and you are not the only one who is having this sort of problem. There are many more cases that have been filed on a daily basis, and they resolve it very quickly. So as soon as you are going to submit the documents for the purpose of resolution or updation in your CIBIL score, and if the documents are valid, trust me, your CIBIL score will be improved for sure, and that loan will never be counted in your profile as well. So your profile will be reassessed, or your profile will be recalculated considering the subtraction of the transaction which occurred because of this kind of activity. So I hope I may have answered your question.
Yes, very true. You have really answered. And that I will make the payment to it, because I definitely, as you have said, this transaction is definitely affect your CIBIL score. So I will not allow it this more. So that very tomorrow morning, I will make the payment. I will write it back to the bank that this is the things happen, and do kindly close this account and do the needful. This is what I will be doing it. Thank you very much, sir.
Thanks to you, sir, for your motivational words for me. And I would advise you, please write an application first and then proceed for the payment. And do mention this aspect that since my CIBIL score is damaged by this transaction, I am now supposed to pay the money only for the purpose of resolving this transaction I am paying, but this should not be counted as an acceptance of your offer, and hence you are supposed to take a valid and legal action against them as well. So
thank you, sir. Thank you.
So, and anybody else who wants to make any sort of comment or anything that you want to ask, although I had a list of questions that I wanted to discuss, but I don't know whether I have much time or not. I will have to ask Dr. Pratibha ma'am about it. So ma'am, do we have more time for taking more questions, or
we have 10 minutes more. Actually, we just reserve 5 minutes time for a short break, but if it is so interesting and everyone is feeling like we should continue, so please continue with the same.
I would like to just take two, 3 more questions out of this brainstorming session, and then I'll close this session.
Sure.
Everybody have had enough of this information. So talking about this delay in payment or non-payment of loan installment, again, you must remember this point that if you are making a delay in payment or you are not paying the loan installment, it is going to badly affect your CIBIL score. Then, as I told you in the first place, that if you are making the minimum charges on credit card, let's say your bill amount is 10,000, but paying a minimum charge of 1,000, it is also going to add negative value to your profile. You are believing that, of course, the minimum charges means that you are free from the burden of paying the credit card bills, but it's not like this. If you have spent 10,000 rupees of money, it means that you have borrowed 10,000 rupees, and now out of 10,000, you are paying 1,000, which means you have already made a default of 9,000, which is actually going to add negative value to your CIBIL profile. And hence, you must understand this point that although, let's say you are getting free from the burden of getting calls of the credit card companies, but you have not got free from the burden of that loan. And hence, it is going to add negative value to your profile. Then, delay in payment of electricity bill. Can anybody tell me whether it is going to affect or not? Yes or no? Delay in payment of electricity bill. What do you think? Anybody who wants to say something with regard to this delay in payment of electricity bill? Will it affect our CIBIL score? So 2 participants are saying yes. See, it is not going to affect your CIBIL score. Even sir is also saying, Arun sir is also saying that it is not going to affect. I can say, see, delay in payment of electricity bill, you must understand this point that anything that is attached to your PAN card, that is going to affect your CIBIL score. Now, if you are paying your electricity bill, it is not having any sort of connection with your PAN card, and of course, it is not going to affect your electricity bill. Yes, you can say this, that let's say, for example, you have consumed the electricity of, let's say, 15,000 or 20,000 rupees, and you have paid the bill out of the credit card, and then you are not paying the credit card bill. Then your credit score will be affected. But please mind this, not paying your credit card bill will affect your CIBIL score, but not the electricity bill. All right. So not to pay the electricity bill will attract to the, disconnecting your electricity connection only. It is not going to affect your CIBIL score in any way. All right. So I believe that now I must end my presentation here only, keeping the 10 minutes of margin to all the participants for their break. So guys,
Sir, we have 5 minutes more for question and answer. We will just stop all this at
that any participant wants to ask from me with regard to the presentation that I made or the topic that we have discussed. And
if there is any question, please unmute yourself and ask your question. If there is any question from the audience, if you want to say anything about this session, you can just share your thoughts.
Any question, any thought, or any sort of experience, just like sir has recently discussed with all of us, his case, any case or any point or any sort of thing that you want to discuss with me or any other participant. It may be quite possible that, although, let's say, for example, if I'm not able to answer it, anybody else may be able to answer it. Of course, I don't know everything, but somebody knows something, and then we can collectively help each other.
Sir, I think all queries have been already taken by you.
Okay.
And so we can just stop here because starting a new topic will delay for the next session.
Okay. All right, ma'am. So
Yes, sir.
thank you so much, all the participants.
We are receiving comments in the chat. It was really a very informative session. We have received multiple responses. I request all the participants, if your name has been written here as iPhone or any other name, please rename it so that we can just see who has written the same. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for joining us for the session
Thank you
today.
so much.
The time was really very less, and the way you have explained all this credit score, CIBIL score, and everything, it was really very good. It was written in the content that IPO should also be taken, but because of the time, we are unable to just continue.
Okay.
So thank you so much, sir. You have addressed all the queries, and it was really a great experience for us.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All other participants may take a break. We will again join back at 4 for the next session. Till then, you can take a rest, and we will come back sharp at 4. Thank you so much, everyone. Attendance for this session has already been shared. You can fill the attendance. We are just closing it in 1 or 2 minutes. Tonal ma'am, we have taken a short break. We will be back at 4. So that's why there is no voice in this.
Hello,
is
Dr.
what-
Pratima madam. Hello.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Hi.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi. Actually, I wanted to say that if you can share the MCQs right after the session, because next day morning we have classes, and today I just came back home and I wanted to fill the form and there was a certain power outage. So though I had filled through someone else's mobile because my network was not coming, so would request if you can share the MCQ immediately after the session.
Actually, ma'am, after the session, the team start working on making the MCQ. I know there are only 5 questions, but it is all the work already all starts after the sessions only. So immediately after the session, I think is not possible. We
Like
usually
on the
take.
first day, you shared around 9 o'clock in the evening, if that is possible.
Right, ma'am. We will see. We have received multiple responses to extend the time. That's why we considered it at 8 a.m. in the morning till 4 right now. So we'll look into it. We'll get back to you, ma'am.
Because I was attending the session, filling the MCQ, so it is also a disturbance in that manner. Okay, thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay, welcome back everyone. Our speaker for next session, Kumar Bijoy sir is here. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
We are just starting in 1 or 2 minutes, sir. Participants are right now 51, they reach to 80. So we will wait a little for them to come back.
Okay.
1 or 2 minutes only, sir. Welcome back, everyone. Today we have Dr. Kumar Bijoy, sir. Sir, we are starting, if you allow, because the participants, they are 55, they'll reach accordingly. So we are just starting. Yes. So today we have Dr. Kumar Bijoy, sir, for session 6. Kumar Bijoy, sir, is Associate Director in Campus of Open Learning, University of Delhi. Sir has also served as Director at Sahib Sukhdev College, Coordinator for Certificate Course of Applied FinTech. He is also Coordinator for Certificate Course in Financial Modeling and Algo Trading, FMAT. He is Chartered Financial Analyst, CFA, and Master in Economics. His PhD is in Finance, Debt Market, and is from Department of Financial Studies, University of Delhi. He has overall 32 years of experience covering financial consultancy and training to the government organizations and private corporates. He is a international trainer for last 25 years for various infrastructure projects also. He is also certified trainer of project management from World Bank Training Division. We welcome you, sir. Welcome you for the session. The session is open now. Kindly address to the participants. We are looking forward for your ideas and insight. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Pratibha, and thanks to you and your department in giving me this opportunity. Am I audible properly?
Yes, you are audible. Your screen is also visible.
Very good. So, and my slide is also visible.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Your slides are also there.
Oh,
You can just slide share. Yes, sir.
so now again, and welcome to all the participants. Interestingly, I was really looking towards the coincidence that you had given me a topic, idea and need of budgeting, and today government has presented budget. So this union budget is also there. And very interestingly, budgeting, spending and investing, these are the three dimensions which, what could be the best practices. That is what we have to look upon. So let's one by one, we will start. And what exactly, when we say budget and related to financial dimensions of any individual, what exactly it is. But before that, I'm thinking to look upon that whatever the issues are there, how many of you are from finance background, so that I should be very clear. You are teaching finance, or you know finance, you are teaching any other people. So that is our first question I would like to know. And if Dr. Pratibha, you can suggest me how many are from commerce or finance background. And second is it really focused, because budget is at the various level, is it focused only at the individual level, personal level, or you're looking for corporate level? These two questions, please answer me.
Sir, most of the teachers, they are from commerce background or management background. I'm using the word most because I received response that most of them are teaching either this subject or they are from this background only.
Okay.
And this is for their own well-being. This session, or you can say this STP, is for themselves. So personal basis के लिए हमने जो है इसको frame किया था.
Basically for personal basis.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Right. That's one thing I was really looking, and so that will give me a good insight. So let's have a look here, and I'll try to move faster, because all are from commerce and management background. But key issues which I want to address, you can ask the question at the end. And I have kept some national level also, the budget which has been presented today, to some of those highlights also, how it is relevant for us, even at the different level. And if any important question is there which you feel immediately it has to be asked, you can raise the question. You can by raising the hand, you can ask the question. That will be taken care of. So now another, I hope till 5:30 we have to go along with question answer.
Yes, sir. 5:30.
Fine. So idea and need of budgeting. So what is budgeting? Basically, we look here. First question which I had asked is the for whom. Is it for individual? Individual also requires budget. Is it for family? Is it for a particular project? Is it for any business or corporate, or even for a country? Budget could be at any stage. So what is budget? Budget is basically pre-preparation of the statement is called budget, and post-preparation of a statement is called report. So if anything you are going to have, now question is, whatever you are doing, you must be making a plan. And when you are making a plan, then in that case, that plan has to be executed. And for execution of the plan, you require some financial input or any resources input, and you can plan how much those resources has to be put with. And when you are putting those resources in a very specified, defined manner, it is called budget. Primarily, three important budgets are there. First budget is, of course, financial budget. Second budget is called time budget. And third budget is called quality budget. These three budgets are there. Normally, it is at the project level we look upon. These three dimensions of budgets are. So when we say plan at the planning stage, quantification is budget, we are focusing here financial budget, not the time, not the quality budget, not the specification budget. Now we all understand financial budget is also a function of quality budget. How much quality, how much time you are going to put, that will decide about what kind of resources you have to put in the terms of money. Now, when we say financial budget also has got two parts: capital budget and revenue budget. Capital budget is the budget which is meant for installation of capacity, and revenue budget is for running the capacity. Simple definition. And when you say installation of capacity, means capacity building. Like this budget, government budget for last few years is more on capex side, capital expenditure side. So it is actually making the capital investment more intensive, capital investment more centric, and resultant is that when capital investment centric budget is presented, it is meant for a long-term budget. It is meant for a futuristic budget. It is meant for a sustainable budget. Whereas the revenue expenditure is actually taking care of the immediate requirement, immediate happenings. So these are the two dimensions of a budget, or you can say objective, when budget is going to be prepared. So we are more focusing on individual sides, as Dr. Pratibha was mentioning that ultimately focus has to be individual side. But when we say individual, family gets incorporated. The family budget could be a little different, but primarily we are focusing in such a way, we are going to talk individual, which will take care of family. Now, so what are the dimensions which we look, which has to be there as a budgeting person? When we make a budget, what we should look upon? What are the various dimensions we have to look upon? So first is tools for financial planning, whatever financial planning is there. How we will make financial planning. As I was mentioning you here, that planning versus budgeting is always an issue. Sometimes it is very, from teaching purposes, from a student point of view, we have to have a differentiation, but number of times they are overlapping in nature. In real life, they are overlapping in nature. As per budget, one can plan. As per plan, one can budget. This is a very simple phrase which I am using. Suppose I have a plan to buy a car, so I will start looking the budget from where the funding will be coming up, and accordingly resources will get decided. Now, budget means when I look upon that what kind of car I have to have. So suppose I decided to buy a car of 10 lakh rupees. And if I decided to buy a car of 10 lakh rupees, I will have to budget for 10 lakh. But if suppose my budget is only of 7 lakhs, my sources are as per 7 lakhs only, or 5 lakhs, then in that case, I have to plan my car within that budget. So understand these two terms. First one is plan. So as per plan, budget has to be prepared. Second is as per budget, plan has to be met. That's a very simple in the individual level. Even at the country level, even at the corporate level, it has kept on happening. Now, second is even at a country level, it happens. And whenever we talk about prior to our globalization in 1991, this was the focus, that our entire plan was based on whatever budget should have been possible. And that's why India was basically trapped into vicious circle of poverty. Now we are budgeting as per the plan. And for that, there has been always a deficit, and deficit financing has to be created. And deficit financing could be coming through the alternative sources of financing, even like disinvestment at the level of government. And government has been there on the this level. So this is the way one can really play with the concept and look upon who is guiding whom. And in the loop system, there is no as such precursor or successor, rather anyone can guide anyone else. It is a matter of orientation. Even if you teach costing, you know that there has been a target costing concept. And in target costing concept, what happens? You have a specified price. Your cost is compelled to be lower than that. Then only survival will be possible. Otherwise not. So this is what we are actually going to discuss. And that's why when we say tools for financial planning, it has to be viewed. What are the various tools which is available to us to plan with? Similarly, liquidity versus profitability has always been a question. So whenever we talk about liquidity versus profitability, the question is what we require, more liquid or more profit. Normally, there was a time when cash was a very important. Cash means a strength. Cash is always a kind of confidence. But now question is, more the cash, lesser the profit. Because the cash which should have otherwise earned profit for you, otherwise earned return for you, is not going to have that when it is locked in your wallet, locked in your pocket, locked in your almirah. So liquidity is fine, but too much of liquidity or liquidity trap is going to be compromising on the front of the return. Similarly, personal financing, from where and how much personal financing could be possible. Wealth protection and management. Wealth versus income are two different things. I'll highlight these things a little in detail also. Similarly, where to invest, retirements and estate planning, synthesis, integration of financial planning, how various financial plan could get integrated. Now here, if you minutely look, the topic which has been assigned is idea and need. Those are 2 points which initially deliberately I had left on. Idea and need, it will vary, but this dimension will remain same. Everyone will be looking for their own way. Everyone will be looking for their own available resources, wealth accumulations, liquidity positions, financial requirements, whatever the resources requirements are there, and accordingly they will do, but framework will remain same. So this is the framework, this is the dimension, this is the way we are going to have it, how to plan our own financial components, how to plan our investment, how to budget our expenditure and income, so that it should be a kind of comfortable future, comfortable life. So primarily, one question is that what could be our objective, why we want to have it? And this why question, if any one of you can answer, it will be really good. Let's have some discussion and then we will continue on this. But my prior question is there, this is the dimension and these are the way I'm going to continue for another 75 minutes or 75 minutes of time. But if you have something different in your expectation, please unfold now so that we should be having maximum objective achievement. So Pratibha, I think everyone can unmute themselves.
Yes, sir. The participants can unmute, or
Yes.
if they are comfortable writing in the chat, they can do so, if you allow.
Yeah, anything they can, the way they want, I'm comfortable.
Yes.
Anyone have got any, query up to this, what we discussed, please go ahead, because I want two-way communication instead of one-way.
If there is any query, please unmute yourselves and speak.
All good, sir.
All
We
good.
can go ahead.
Yes. What is the objective? Why we want to budget? That's what simple question I'm asking, so that it can help me to take it further. Why we want to budget? If budget नहीं करेंगे तो क्या फर्क पड़ जाएगा?
Sir, if we don't budget the
Yes.
financial resources or other resources, then we cannot go by the design or requirement of that plan or requirement of that project. We can go haywire, and our resources, finances or other resources may be wasted, and we won't be able to achieve the objective.
Very good. Very good. That's really fine. Something else also from someone?
So we have responses in the chat also.
Okay.
Ms. Nidhi Sharma says that
To control, we might exceed our expense as compared to our earnings, to control expenses and allocate money to different uses. Yes, very right. See, very good. Over expenditure can also happen. Yes, budget without control has no meaning. That is what the first we think, and that's why it is, especially in the project environment. See, I'll tell you very simply. I have been mostly engaged in the budget exercise for project, that also World Bank funded projects and so. So what is the very one important statement we keep on saying, that a budget without control has no meaning until unless it is making you self-disciplined. See, basic economics says that resources are limited. So you have Sorry, I think there had been a problem of the net. I'm in the office only.
Yes, and now it is visible and you are audible. You can continue.
Okay. So I was mentioning that economization of resources is very important. And when economization of resources we talk about, it's nothing but without budget, it could not be possible. Second, we always had a kind of a control, budget and report. So budget has been pre-happenings, budget is there. After post-happenings, report is there. And we used to match the two. And we used to look into how much deviation has been there. And there has been always a, look for why deviation is taking place. But now here, of course, the important is any kind of efficient and comfortable utilization of resources will always be guided through budget, and that's why budget is very important. Now, these dimensions also we look upon that starting from financial planning to ultimately integration of all the plans. These are ultimately part of a good smart budget, and how it is going to work, have a look upon. What are those tools? When we say first tool is there, what are those tools? So planning with personal financial statements. One has to develop the personal budget, revenue and capital. Even as minute as one can decide how much is that revenue budget, means revenue expenditure is going to be there, a regular expenditure, monthly expenditure is going to be there, whether it is on the household maintenance, it is on the fuel, it is on the education, it is on the some other expenditure which is regular in nature, and plus some capital expenditure. Now, capital expenditure has to also be prepared. So how much capital expenditure? May not necessarily every year capital expenditure will be there, but one can keep on deciding. But prior to that, one has to demand what kind of a capital one need. That is what really required. So capital need is there, and that is here we can make a kind of a financial statement of our own. हमें क्या क्या करना है, एक साल में क्या करना है, year wise. Then you can bifurcate into month wise. You can look upon what you really need, and even some long-term basis. Long-term basis means suppose one has got vehicle, when they want to have the replacement of that vehicle, maybe 3 years, 4 years hence, one want to replace, one want to buy a flat or build a house, or want to have any kind of asset. It is really required. Even making some equipment purchase, that equipment purchase could also be part of the capital expenditure. And similarly, revenue expenditure, what are the regular expenditure? That has to be there. Now, why I'm highlighting here to this, one prima facie, one can feel that what great about it. But actually, one has to be very careful that if you are carefully carving it, you will find out your expenditure will be under control. And when expenditure is under control, what is the meaning of expenditure under control? That it should be less than your income. Now, here one big challenge is there. Should I control my expenditure or should I increase income? What could be the right approach? Now, expenditure has got indiscipline, you can say, attributes. Expenditure is always having tendency to go up. It is having a buoyancy. Every time expenditure has buoyancy. So what is discipline here? It should not bump up. It should not jump up. It should not become buoyant. It should be always under the cover of, under the ceiling of income. The moment expenditure crosses income, whether it is an individual level or corporate level or country level, it will be a worse situation. We have already seen that so many corporates has become bankrupt just because their expenditure had not been in control. They started indebting too much, and after that they were not able to make their debt payments, and finally they became bankrupt. They had been referred to NCLT and all those. Similarly, country, you look into that now. I'm watching so many countries, and even including our neighbor country like yours, Sri Lanka, Pakistan. You look upon, country is now in the point of bankruptcy, where country is unable to repay their debt. So if you start looking at individuals, so a number of individual example can come up. So finally, what is the role of the budget is that why it is needed? what is the very important aspect is that you have to control it. You have to make sure that it should be within cover. It should be that under limit, which is income limit. Now, question is, what could be the nature of expenditure? And nature of expenditure, when we consider, it could be necessity, it could be comfort, it could be luxury, it could be immediate urgent, it could be important but not urgent, it could be deferred. So these are the certain attributes you can apply to your expenditure. And after applying, look into that, can it be possible your expenditure could be deferred? So first question you ask, that the expenditure which you're planning, is it really needed? Can it be possible that without that expenditure, one can easily, comfortably continue other life? If answer is yes, there is no point to go for that expenditure. Just because others are going for that expenditure, don't take that expenditure is meant for you also. So be very careful. And second is that if it is needed, question is it immediately needed or it can be deferred? If it can be deferred, abhi nahi, baad mein kar lenge. Or baad mein kar lenge, that will be better because it is expenditure. I have a very simple part of it. It is exact opposite to that what accounting concept says that. And opposite is that whenever it is a matter of income, try to generate as early as possible. Okay. And whenever it is a matter of expenditure, try to defer as late as possible. Of course, it should not harm your performance. It should not harm your output. That could be taken care of. But अगर expenditure आज के expenditure को कल पे टाल दें, कल के expenditure को और आगे बढ़ा दें और हमें कोई हानि नहीं हो रहा है, अगर हमें कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ रहा, then it is really better and we should defer it. Okay, that should be simple a thumb rule. Second, very important is expenditure has got a bad habit. Okay, to have a habit. What is expenditure have got a bad habit to have a habit is, एक बार आप expenditure करो, it is the first time only, with this promise that just once I'm going, you will slowly find out it is that it will become a habit. Okay, it will start tempting you, and even if you want to make yourself disciplined, you'll find out your family member will start, especially the kids will start making it. For example, I will simply say, let's have a one-time dinner outside without any reason. No, it's not a celebration. It's a simple dinner outside. Let's have a pattern. And then after that, you feel it and you really enjoyed the dinner outside. Maybe in a good restaurant, whole family sitting together and taking dinner. There is a bill. Now question is, this is certainly bill is higher than what it had to be otherwise cooked and eaten at the home. Now question is, after some time, you'll feel it has been now long due for a next visit to that outside dinner. Let's have that. Similarly, any kind of outing. These are the certain things which is how much is too much, we hardly understand, and that basically lead to a different kind of situation. So many of these examples could be there where you find out that when to make yourself disciplined. So I'll tell one important aspect here, since it is meant for individual, be very careful, and I'm sure my slides further must be talking to those things. There has been a philosophy that whenever you have an income, first expenditure should be your saving. I am repeating, it is a kind of a thumb rule. Long time, for last 25-30 years, I have been suggesting this part that first expenditure should be your savings. And at least in the defined mathematical rule, and if your income is normal, not very smart income is there, then still you make 20% of your savings as your first expenditure. What it means? Suppose someone has got 1 lakh rupees take home. If 1 lakh rupees take home is there, then 20,000 minimum, which is I'm saying 0.2x, 0.2y, whatever you call it, 0.2 is your expenditure, that is saving, and keep it aside. That's the first point. Saving should be your first. Now after 1 lakh minus 20,000 comes to 80,000. Second perception, cue to your brain that your income is only 80,000. That's the second step. So first step is you have at least 20% of your savings as first expenditure. You did it. Where to park, how to park, that is a second stage talk. But first stage is that is segregated. So you perceive your income is only 80K, 80,000. And once your income is 80,000, rest budgeting should be made on 80,000, because treating at 0.2 your savings is out of your budget. That's an out thing. That's a someone else's money. And that's the way you can start a comfortable journey. Why saving is required? There had been an alternate theory also, and here number of occasion has been there where people have argued with me that, sir, this is being an Indian style. We don't have a social security. We don't have a health security. We don't have a personal security, old age security. That's why these things are there. But that's not a philosophy. That's not an approach in the foreign countries, advanced economy. It's not like that. American don't save. I differ on these things, and I simply say that even look into big investors and big financial consultants, they all have suggested that your some portion of savings should always be there, because even if you have a social security, even if you have a medical securities, even if you have a old age securities, but still that saving habit ultimately makes a very better capital formation. Because saving should not be lying in your almirah or below pillow. It should be actually invested and rotated. That is really needed. That's what the point of saving is there. Then second is 1 rupee today and rupee tomorrow is not same. Time value concept has been there. Entire philosophy of time value is applicable. So we have to have inflation care, and what kind of a real value we are getting, that is also very important. So we have to count, and how much you feel that you can generate your fund so that you can make at that rate equivalence, which is what I call it effective discounting rate. And whatever time horizon one can define. Here I like to tell you very clearly, whatever your retirement age is there, plus 30 years you must put on that, and try to make sure that now it is a new era where post-retirement one can start a new inning, a very different inning altogether. See, there are 3-4 innings of a life. First inning is that which is a school life, college life, education life. So second inning is that which is what call family life, earning life, salary life, job life, which is somewhere 60, somewhere 62, somewhere 65, somewhere 70 years of retirement is there. Let's consider we all are teacher, and as per present scenario, 65 is the retirement age. So question is, after 65, at least 25 years of the plan should be there. Because look into initial 25 years of plan to make another 45 years of, or 35 or 40 years of life comfortable. हम जो शुरू में पढ़ते हैं, पूरी जो तैयारी करते हैं, स्कूल, कॉलेज, डिफरेंट प्रोफेशनल क्वालिफिकेशन, ताकि हमारा वो जो गार्हस्थ जीवन है, जो फैमिली लाइफ है, जो अर्निंग लाइफ है, जॉब लाइफ है, यंग लाइफ है, वो कंफर्टेबल हो जाए. तो 25 years we are giving to make rest 40 years or 35 years comfortable. But simultaneously, the post-retirement, what kind of life could be there? We have to plan now 25 years in advance. Then only that life will also be smart. It should be independent. It should be very, with a proud feeling and powerful. So that is what really required. So this is time horizon one can define how it has to be set with. And certainty equivalent approach, I'm using here different part. There had been a volatile way of income. Like if you look into a stock market, this is not certain, but certainly you must have got a minimum certain equivalent approach. कि इतना पैसा तो मिलेगा ही मिलेगा. Retirement के बाद compromise करने की जगह, retirement के बाद enjoy करने की जरूरत होती है, and that is what one can plan now. Financially can make oneself very, very empowered, very, very strong. And of course, tax planning is always a part which should be continuously looked upon. So my simple advice is that never evade, but must look into opportunity and structure your entire tax plan effectively. Now, similarly, all those factors has been there: liquidity, how much banking and interest has to be set, what is the timing of fund flow is required. So whenever you have a very clear-cut time frame, when you are going to have what, when you will need more money, when you will not require money, when you will like to, take some extra rest, like it might be possible that some deposit plan, if suppose someone is right now 30 years of age, can plan that another 25 years, keep on depositing, keep on saving, keep on making some systematic investment, and after that, after 55 years of age, no investment. After 55 years of age till 65 years of age, no investment, but no withdrawal also, and after 65 years of age, withdrawal will start. Or maybe further extension could be there, another 10 years I'll keep on engaging myself in the earning proposition, and interestingly, by the time of 65, whatever the other liabilities are there, those liabilities should be met, and those liability has already been honored, and you can start your new inning, maybe startups. I'm telling you, even just last month itself in January, I had a full day one program through All India Management Association, EMA, on the super innovation, and some people who are actually 50 plus in the different organizations, public sector and others, they were the participant. Only one thing is that a good number of them are now ready to go for a new startup because their children are well settled. They have their own home. They have their pension also. And since everything is there, now they want to really make a new beginning. And that new beginning is again going for 20, 25 and 30 years of age. When you keep on working, you will find out you will remain fit, fine, healthy, as well as longevity of life is going to be there. So these are the certain aspects which has to be taken care of. So this is what you can look up. Liquidity, only one thing I'll say, even in worse condition for revenue expenditure, you should require borrowing. It should not be there. Whenever your revenue expenditure is there, that should come from your income. Income should always take care of it. And second is that even if it is really required, I had already suggested to have some savings. So borrow from yourself. Borrowing from yourself will always be cheaper and with prestige than the borrowing from others. Be very careful with that. And trade-off between liquidity, profitability, I have already mentioned. Then what are the various funds which could be available for your planned expenditure? It could be own fund, available fund, converted fund, borrowed fund. Own fund is own fund. Available fund, maybe somewhere accumulated fund is there. Converted fund means from one asset to another asset. You sell off asset and you get it. Even government is following now. Disinvestment is nothing but it is converted fund. They have their setup, they are selling it, and they are taking that money and they are investing into new assets. That is converted fund. And finally, borrowed fund. Borrowed fund is the last. That should be there only when your own available funds are not available. Okay. Then wealth protection and management. Question is, what is wealth? Wealth is actually the available asset which can generate income in future or keep on generating income. Then question is every wealth is generating income or your wealth is non-performing? Normally we have plots, land piece, and that land piece is lying idle year after year, sometimes decades after decades. And I'm sure a good number of you must be having this situation. We may be happy with the appreciation of that land price. That piece of land price is increasing, but unfortunately we are missing the regular income out of that land piece. So you have to look upon that, what best way that land piece could be put into production. That is converting that NPA, non-performing asset, into an earning asset. How you can convert that earning asset. And second important aspect is, for protection purposes, it is very important that make sure that your everything should be insured. So first you insure yourself. Everyone should insure. आप कुछ तभी कर पाएंगे जब आप insured रहेंगे. Okay. Second, so it's a life insurance, health insurance, asset insurance, general insurance, every insurance should be there. And keep your asset in use for productivity. Then, okay, up to here, any question? And because it is highly one-sided getting, so I'm feeling little uneasy. And this is the limitation of online program also. We are zooming. Yeah, anyone? Sheetal ji, Devyani ji, any question? No. So I'm assuming that everyone is going to have a very clarity related to whatever I'm discussing, right? Now, look upon one more.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes,
And,
please
if,
go ahead.
most can be for any asset insurance. Am I
Yeah.
I
audible,
think,
sir?
sir, your voice is little
Hello.
breaking. We cannot hear it clear.
Now it is audible.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So my question is, whenever we opt for any insurance product, and suppose we make a mistake, and then too late for us to opt for product, especially in case of insurance, then what we do? Because in life insurance, this is tendency of opting for endowment plans.
Okay. See,
So,
yeah, please finish your statement first.
so after covering 10 or 15 years, you come to know कि term plan लेना है. So how then when we can.
Okay, I got your point, Ravinder ji. It's basically whenever you have these things. See, at least in your plan, history can't be rewritten. Only the thing is that your care is really required. That whenever you feel that no, instead of doing those things, you should have done otherwise. So the day you decide that way, you can shift, you can switch on to the, or you can really switch over to the new asset. But mind it, whenever you have taken endowment plan or whatever you have taken, not only related to insurance, any of the product, then must have been a good prevailing product. See, every product has got its merits and limitation. So instead of getting too much of concerned about that, okay, what are the limitations associated to it, look into what is the best fit at that point of time when you are taking a call, when you are taking a decision. And even if you have committed mistake in the past, don't repent for it. Go ahead and correct your mistakes. Go ahead, make new investment, make new strategies, make new plannings, make new busting, and make your future comparatively comfortable, better, safe, and enjoyable. That is what really needed. पुरानी बातों में बहुत परेशान होने की जरूरत नहीं है, बिकॉज प्रोडक्ट चेंज करते जाएंगे और जब भी नया प्रोडक्ट आता है सम एडेड फीचर्स लेके आता है, सम कुछ न्यू फीचर्स लेके आता है. तो one should not repent why they had taken that kind of product. Okay, and it is for any product, not only financial product. Any product it is applicable. Now I'm going to personal investing. So investment philosophies, where you want to invest, how much you want to invest. This is what really needed. Okay. And second one is identification of possible instruments. This is what we were talking about. Investment philosophy aapka kya hai? Investment philosophy may be short-term investment, long-term investment. Maybe on the basis of risk. How much risk appetite you have got? Are you investing for your future? You are investing for your children's future. You are investing for your grandchildren's futures. किसके futures के लिए आप invest कर रहे हैं? Because investment is going to give you return in futures. तो किसके return के लिए? किसके futures के लिए? किस time के लिए? That is what investment philosophy is. You want to have more on a regular income basis or growth basis. These are the certain ways. The entire mutual fund industry is working on the investment philosophies. And the moment philosophy varies, you find out a new product is available. Identification of possible instruments. So what are the various instruments? Broad two instruments are there, equity and debt. but in the equity itself, varieties are there. In debt itself, varieties are there. So those instruments has to be identified and look for value. There is a concept that don't buy when it is overvalued, buy only when it is undervalued. So through valuation, one can identify whether it is good to invest or not to invest. This is what really required. So selection of right instruments is also important, and proportionate allocation. One very simple theory is don't invest in only one basket. Invest in many baskets. When I say basket, it means equity, debt, and so on. Within basket, don't invest only in one product, like your one company. Invest in so many. That is what normally called diversification. So you create baskets of basket. And when you create baskets of basket, you will find out your risk distribution has been very high, and risk distribution means per head risk has reduced. That is comfortable exercise. Have you parked one place, risk should have been very high, which could be a very dangerous for any investor. Return may be compromised to a greater extent. It might be possible even capital can be eroded. So be careful. Then retirement and estate planning, that is also very important. Post-retirement comfort has to be looked upon. You should have ability to gift, estate planning, and succession planning. These are the certain 4 important aspects. Now, sometime when we initially talk these things, it seems it is meant for high net worth individual, for wealthy people, but it's not true. It is for one and all. सबके लिए applicable है. Post retirement comfort everyone wants. Ability to gift everyone should have. Gift could be not necessarily gifting to outside, not necessarily looking for philanthropic component. It may be gifting to your own grandchildren. But when you have to give to your grandchildren, don't depend on your children. Generally, you have to make sure that whenever any of your next generation visit you or next to next generation visit you, you must gift them. Make a habit. This is what Indian traditional habits have been there. But for that, you don't depend on others. Similarly, whatever your estate is there, whatever property is there, plan effectively and look who is going to have succession. Succession planning is also very important. Scientific method has to be adopted. Looking upon what is allowed, what is not allowed, and how succession has to be successful. That is what really required. If it is required to write a will, must write a will. Okay, there has to be. This is what, when I was really looking myself, if I am into that position and I have to plan myself, what exactly I will do. And this is something like I planned somewhere around, you can say, 15, 16 years back, when I was really analyzing myself very effectively. When I basically, or now I can say that it is somewhere around 19 years back, when I turned from industry and as a corporate to teaching and to this working environment, I had to take a call and I had to make sure that what exactly I want and what kind of my financial confidence should be maintained. And for that, 12 points, Dwadas Yojana, I created for myself. First one is Apni Chhatri, that is basically own house. Then Pitri Dharma, whatever the children's education is there, that I have to create. So I have to make sure that what could be the best could be possible for the children's education, I'll do. Most of Indians actually do like this only. Then Vahan Sukh should be there, own vehicle. Jeevan Suraksha, that's insurance. Swablamban, Jio Sanse, means that I was talking about gift from your pocket, not from your son's pocket, not from your other's pocket. Then Kar Pravandhan, that is tax management. Jeevan Sali, lifestyle should not be compromised. Just because my income has been compromised doesn't mean that lifestyle has to be there. And for that, it has to be possible, which I was talking about certainty equivalent approach, that आज जो मुझे जितना खर्च करने के लिए चाहिए, जो मैंने अपना लाइफ स्टाइल मेंटेन किया है, that lifestyle has to be maintained even post retirement. Even when I am sitting and enjoying my life just by doing nothing, then also my lifestyle should not get compromised. Vishwa Brahman, that's another. World tour is a very important component. Mahadan, that's a great gift, what one can give it, even including philanthropic exercise. Suharambha, that's another new beginning which I was mentioning to you, that whatever startups has been there, one can do it. And this is a fantastic, and hundreds of people I know right now. And as I was associated to my incubation center, and interestingly, a good number of senior people have now started working as the incubators, and they are really transforming that incubation to a startup, to a well-established exercise. Similarly, some sanchaya, that's holding, that's a saving should be there, and finally the charity should be there. This is what Dwadas Yojana. So anyone can have any comment or any kind of a query, any kind of a question, crossings on this Dwadas Yojana. I'm very thrilled and happy when I discuss these 12 points for a standard smart life. Yes, anyone? Quickly.
Good evening, sir.
Yes, Sandeep ji, बताइए.
Sir, this the 12 जो योजनाएं हैं ये बहुत अच्छी लगती हैं, and very happy to see when I see the name like the children's education vehicle and the word to. मेरा एक छोटा सा सवाल है कि इसमें जो रिटर्न मिलता है हम लोगों को और जो रिटर्न हम लोग सोचते हैं, क्या वो रिटर्न लगभग सेम ही होता है या somewhat higher, because it is promised by the the state government and central government. तो जो रिटर्न है, रेट ऑफ रिटर्न जिसको हम बोलते हैं IRR समझ लीजिए, तो वो कंपैरेटिवली क्या रहता है और क्या अदर राइडर्स मिल जाते हैं बेनिफिट के अंदर जो और जगह से नहीं मिलते? एक तो ये जानना चाहता हूँ। और दूसरा, since you have taken up a very good topic and I have understood your wavelength, that in the areas you are touching upon, अब आप सर ये बताएं कि हमारे फादर्स ने जो उन्होंने जगह ली और हम लोगों के लिए उन्होंने फ्लैट या घर बना दिए हम लोगों के लिए, लेकिन आज की तारीख में अगर मैं दिल्ली में अगर मैं चाहूं अपनी इस प्रेजेंट सैलरी से कोई अच्छा सा घर ले पाऊं, यानी कि अमृता शेरगिल मार्ग पे या वेस्ट एंड के अंदर या वसंत विहार के अंदर, तो सैलरी का स्लैब तो उतना ही बड़ा मेरा, लेकिन कोई मैं जगह नहीं ले सकता, मुझे दिल्ली के आउटस्कर्ट पे जाना पड़ेगा या आउटर पार्ट पे जाना पड़ेगा उस रियल एस्टेट को परचेस करने के लिए। तो वो मेरे रीच से दूर हट गई है। मतलब कहने का ये है कि आज की तारीख में अगर मैं उसकी वैल्यूएशन देखता हूं तो वो काफी रीच से बहुत दूर है। तो एक सवाल सर ये आता है, और तीसरा सवाल सर लास्ट में ये आता है कि अब हमारे पास क्या बचा है कि हम लोग कौन सा अच्छा रिटर्न्स ले सकते हैं, which is available for us to for the next 15 to 20 years के perspective में, कि कहाँ पर हम पैसा अच्छा पंप कर पाएं कि वहां से रिटर्न्स अच्छा मिल सके। So these are the 3 questions, and I hope so that will also help to my other friends in this the area. Sir, I'm sorry to say I just interrupted you in between.
No, it's basically I have invited you to interrupt, and that is what it was needed. See, your fantastic questions are there, 3 questions, but I found that all 3 questions we have more or less have got your control over the question also. You know the answer as well. The only thing is that it is a kind of in a behavioral finance, we call it. It is a kind of a confirmation. So, that is called self-attribution. So that is what we actually look upon. I was talking about planning versus budgeting. You must have heard that in the previous I think second slide was talking of planning versus budgeting. So when you talk your land piece or flat buying in Vasant Kunj or in a very post area, of course, our budget doesn't allow that. So I had mentioned this thing when you look minutely, I was explaining you this point that planning versus budgeting, either budget will control your plan or plan will make your budget to exceed. So now when we have got, and whenever elasticity is there, elasticity is limited. So we can't exceed. Yes, I can, instead of buying a flat of, 80 lakh rupees, I can go to 1 crore rupees, but I can't go to 5 crore rupees. That's very clear. It's not possible. So 80 lakh can go to 1 crore at a max, 1 crore 20 lakhs. But if you expect that someone has got a capacity or budget of 80 lakhs and will be thinking for 3 crores of flat, not possible. Means you have to revise your plan to fit your budget. Okay, that's a very simple. This is what it has been there, and very natural. The even outer skirt you can afford, but so many people will not be there who will be in a position to afford in the outer skirts of Delhi also. So it is something like a very different kind of a strata of the people, economic strata of the people are already there, and that's why what is the best affordability. There is a word called LIG, low income group. There is a word called MIG, middle income group. There is a word called HIG, high income group. But there is also a word called DIG. Do you understand DIG? Have you heard Sandeep Gargi DIG?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What is this?
Sir, can you kindly repeat, sir? What did you say?
And it is DIG. DIG. Any one of you? Have you heard DIG?
The dual income group.
Very good. The dual income group, double income group. एक के कमाने से नहीं चलेगा. It's a double income has to be there. This is what a fundamental it is going to be there. When first time I had heard, I was really surprised. What is this? So double income group has to be there. Now that's a one dimension. So don't feel sad or bad about it, not to able to buy that. कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. What is the very important point is that, in my opinion, that a healthy, pleasant life is more important than, a luxurious life. To very clear. And that is what we should head to. And it is, here our limitation with the time is there. Otherwise, mathematically also I have proved that a healthy and pleasant life is always better than the luxurious life. That's the one dimension. Now, your one more question was there. And that question was, what could be the best parking place of your fund? That depends on what kind of your personal level is there. What are your income level? What is your liability? What are the asset and wealth available to you? And what is your future plan? That is investment planning. That will be there. And that's why these instruments are many. And number of areas are there. Starting from a simple bank deposit to various schemes, to mutual fund schemes, to stock market schemes, to ETF schemes, and number of schemes are there. But it is something like idiosyncratic in nature. What is your condition? What kind of your plan is there? What is your risk appetite? What is your certainty related to future income? What kind of lifestyle you want? What are timings of your need of money? These are the certain things which basically properly planned, and it is individually planned. It can't be a general statement. Suppose you might be blessed with your house there, no other liability, huge wealth accumulated with you. Parents are also well settled and have very wealthy one. Then in that case, your planning of the investment will be different than compared to one who has to take care of parents also, who has to look into that, someone is medical support is required in the family. So it varies. Someone has got limitations related to some other dimensions. So it is not one answer which is there, and this is what a professional answer really required, which we say our financial planning for that individual has to be comparatively unique, and that is what the best could be there. Imitation doesn't work here in a true sense. Okay, that is what required. Suppose these all points, 12 points, this is what exhaustively I have prepared. Doesn't mean everything is required to everyone. That has to be, cases. So one can take from whatever needed to that person from this entire list, and that will be good for that person. So it is this what I want to have. Suppose someone is very confined only to some bank deposit, never look towards market, stock market. Never look towards equity investment. Maybe equity giving a better return. But suppose I say that I'm happy with my 6% return because my capital is safe and I'm not mentally tortured that what is the stock market movement. I'm not monitoring them. It's fine. This is a very nice style of living financially. That could be there. Someone is very crazy and someone is every time they are looking into that morning buying and afternoon selling. That could be there. Both are different attributes. None is wrong. ये अपना अपना स्वभाव है. And that is what behavior, that's why I say it's a behavioral finance is very important associated here. These are cognitive behaviors. Look upon why need money: transactionary demand, precautionary demand, speculative demand. This is very simple. Even in class 11th economics, it is taught. Okay, to transactionary demand. Now, what kind of transaction you are going to have, how much precaution you have to have, how much speculation you have to have is going to decide about what kind of money is going to be there. And then next is going to be, next what very important aspect is, are you, really give or answer one question that when you start from your house every day, how much minimum balance and minimum cash should be there in your wallet? Now it is a age of plastic card, it is a age of ATM. So you can say, sir, cash doesn't make a meaning, but you can, take yourself 10 years, 15 years back when there was no Paytm available, cash was really needed. So now it was questioned that how much minimum it ought to be there in the wallet, then only you can move out. You can feel comfortable. You can feel, that yes, if anything is required, you have the money in your wallet. Or if suppose you are going for shopping, nowadays, again, being a card one, digital has entire, not only changed the market through technology, but it even behavior is changing. But look into that. Suppose we have gone to, I can share my feeling. When a lot of purchasing start taking place in the market, always in the back of mind, there was a caution कि pocket में कितना पैसा लेके आए हैं, because it should be very humiliating. You buy more and after that, after bill, you say that you don't have that much money and you start, debucketing your basket. That will not be good. Nowadays, anyway, a good limit or limitless cards are available, so one can comfortably go for it, and that spoils the buying behavior also. That sometimes you end up buying which you should have avoided otherwise. So these three terms very much common in economics, but how you practice in the everyday life, that is important. And this is what I have already explained to you. Y minus S is equal to C. S should be your first, expenditure, that is saving. So in economics, we have kept on reading Y minus C is equal to S. I suggest reverse this equation without having any kind of mathematical difference, and Y minus S becomes C. Subject to that, here it requires a lot of discipline. And the moment that discipline is there, it can never be possible that person will be financially dependent or financially indebted. Never possible. Your earning will be always better than your expenditure. Life will always be healthy. And it will add your savings. How it will add your savings? Because that stress will not be there and you will concentrate on health, and a healthy person will have a minimum medical expenditure. You don't require a medical expenditure. Okay, और जितना medical expenditure होना होगा वो सब सारा saving में convert हो जाएगा. You don't require to take a medical leave or medicine. And interestingly, even if suppose someone feels that sir हमें medical का अलग पैसा नहीं लगता, keep in mind one thing: you will be mentally healthy, you will be very happy, you will enjoy your life once you are healthy. If a medical emergency or medical need is been coming, and if it is frequently coming, it should be there. So what should be your best lifestyle? That should be set. अगर आप 12%, 14%, 15% का रिटर्न आपको स्टॉक मार्केट वगैरह में या कहीं आप इन्वेस्टमेंट में मिल रहा है, 15% के रिटर्न से you just somebody suggested you कि you invest here and you will get 20% return or 25% return, because those returns are also reported in the market. But after in the attraction of those additional 5 to 10% return, if it is going to create a lot of your tension, if because of that stress is increasing and body is getting with a high pressure, then in that case, I don't advise those 10% additional is there. You should not earn to pay to hospital. You should not earn that your 4 servants are working and they are enjoying with the good quality food or creamy food, and the earner has to eat only the boiled food. So that should not be the purpose of financial investment. Financial investment should be there. We should give you pleasure. We should give you thrill, not should simply give you mathematically highest, so-called highest return, which will keep on bringing a lot of trouble to the life. Now, it should be regular income should be there, occasional income should be there, windfall income should be there. These are the certain questions which has to be answered. Wealth should be wealth is accumulated, inherited, gifted. So, Dr. Sandeep, what you had asked, these are the certain questions which is really required to be answered, or you can answer yourself for your own. Answer to your diary, and then you start planning for your investment. And there, if it is really required, you can take some advice or support from those who are expert in the field. Similarly, earning assets are there. What are the future assets are going to get created? These are the way through which it could be set. And there is a clear-cut life cycle. What those life cycles are there? Initially accumulate, then console, then spend, and finally gift. Okay, ultimately enjoy the complete full life cycle of the journey, and make sure that no liability should be left out. That is what basic financial planning, basic budgeting has to be there. Keep on budgeting, make big plan, bifurcate into various budgets, and make sure that you are comfortably achieving all those things without any stress. You don't require to make a stress, because planning and budgeting both are in your control. So don't get stressed with that okay, how to have it. And it is, sometimes people negatively call it compromise. I call it enjoy. That is what, wherever you have, you can enjoy. So various kinds of, individuals could be there. And those individuals normally from investment or, wealth accumulation point of view, we say, there are certain people who have various confidence levels. And now, without knowing this confidence level, we can't decide what kind of investment plan could be there. So if high confidence is there, be careful. It is highly individualistic. High confidence is there, but mode of action is impetuous. They are adventurous. Low is there, careful, again like a guardian. Low is there, but impetuous, they are celebrity. And at the middle, it is straight arrow. So these five types of investors, which we say individualistic, adventurer, guardian, celebrity, and straight arrow, these are depending upon their attributes and their action styles, how they are taking, basically return risk profile, how they manage, that decides about these things. Okay. And finally, one can look upon if directly they want to enter in the stock market, or after taking care of that pyramidal structure where their savings has been met, at least 3 months of saving, 3 months of your salary should be part of your savings. 6 months of salary should be part of your bank deposits, which should be, both of them should be at your disposal with just one signature or one click of mouse. And then remaining amount as per your need, you keep on increasing, so that don't feel that your saving is there, which is lying, now it is, saving account linked with the fixed deposit account. So that may be giving you hardly 4-5% return or 6% return, and market is giving 12% return. So I'm thinking I'm losing that 6% return on my bank deposit. No, it's not. That is a base. कभी भी आप देखिएगा प्लांट जो है, वो जो जमीन के अंदर जो ढका हुआ है, वही उसको ऊपर हरा भरा रख रहा है. That is the source of greeneries. So if your money is deposited in the bank, and that is giving you ability to play in the stock market also, don't disturb that base. The moment you disturb the base, you will be lost. Initially, not necessarily you go for active portfolio, go for passive portfolio. Passive portfolio means some standard portfolio you follow, and then follow active portfolio, which is actually DDT, I call it. It is direction of the movement of, you try to predict degree, how much movement will be there, and when that movement will take place, that will decide about is there. So various asset allocation techniques are also set. And these asset allocation techniques, you can develop strategies or could be tactical, or could be insured asset allocation, which is these three broad categories are there. You can find out the details any point of time, anywhere, because nowadays these informations are available. But certainly various strategies has to be individually developed, individually prepared. That is required. And these all are the methods, like as 100 suppose I'm just explaining you 100 minus age method. This is for your equity investment. So suppose a 30-year age person is there. So 70% of the total investment should be in equity. If a 70 years or 60 years age person is there, then 100 minus 60, that is 40% only should be there in the equity. So these are the way through which a lot of various investment consultants has developed various thumb rules, which basically decides or advise the different investors how to behave in the market. So these are the approaches for asset allocation. Asset allocation means whatever the investment is there, how to distribute your investment, where to park your fund. So the question which you had asked, actually it is guided through these routes through which you can really look upon. And finally look what kind of risk is there. Generally, this is meant for all these things are meant for portfolios. Whenever you create, so wherever you have a possibility, diversify. Whether it is unsystematic or systematic risk, both way. Unsystematic means which is company specific risk is there. Systematic risk, which is economy specific risk is there. Tax related risk, exchange rate forex related risk, government policy related risk is systematic in nature. So you have to look upon, and nowadays even international portfolios are available. Even sitting at India through your Indian service provider, Indian brokers, Indian demat accounts, you can invest in the foreign accounts also. So these are the things which is very much possible. And some misconceptions also have taken a risk is only losing money. No, it is a risk as uncertainty or risk as unfamiliarity. These are not, they are the different one. Risk is any deviation. Deviation is the risk. Okay, or any earlier loss has been there. This is basically a very you can say cognitive biases are there. Normally it has been felt that those who have not performed well in the past, those who have lost in the past will lose in the future, which is what we call it momentum philosophy. So people feel momentum philosophy is there, but there is a contrary philosophy or reversal philosophy is also there. Someone which has not performed in past may perform in future. So it requires, these all are required true analysis, and then only it will be possible to discuss it. So how you are going to decide yourself? Cool down, think what is your financial objective, then what is your strength, what are your weaknesses, what is your opportunity, and then ultimately from financial angle, and then you decide how you can plan your future investment. And there you need best suggestions you can take from expert, or you can explore directly. A lot of materials are available, you can explore directly. This is what I had to share with you. So any question from any one of you?
Yeah, sir. Can you please repeat about the 3-month salary and the 6-month salary where we should invest?
Okay, I always suggest a pyramidal approach of investment. In the pyramidal approach of investment, I say that 3 months of salary should be, suppose someone has got 1 lakh rupees salary, so 3 lakh rupees salary should be there in the deposit, term deposit, fixed deposit with the bank, which should be linked with saving accounts. Or linked with saving accounts means what it happens if suppose you have 3 lakh rupees deposit in your fixed deposit in your saving linked deposit, then in that case, suppose saving account has got 30,000 rupees and you need 50,000 rupees. You can comfortably withdraw 50,000 rupees without any exercise. It is as good as lying in the saving account, but giving you a interest of deposit accounts, and only 20,000 will come out. This is what the 3 months saving account linked deposit I mentioned. Then you can make it, second is you can make with your 6 months salary should be in your term deposit, which is again not very big return will be there. तो 3 महीने का आपका इसमें डिपॉजिट हो गया, 6 मंथ्स का सेपरेट डिपॉजिट है विच इज नॉट सेविंग लिंक्ड। जब तक आप उसको प्री मैच्योर विड्रॉ नहीं करोगे वो आपका विड्रॉ नहीं होगा। दैट कांट बी जस्ट बाय सिंपली क्लिकिंग, इट हैज टू बी फर्स्ट विड्रॉन फ्रॉम देयर। सो दैट इज योर अनदर स्ट्रेंथ। रिटर्न विल नॉट बी वेरी हाई बट डोंट एक्सपेक्ट रिटर्न देयर, दैट इज योर बेस, आपका फाउंडेशन बनेगा उससे। उसके बाद आप देख लीजिए आर यू प्रॉपरली इंश्योर्ड और नॉट, देन यू लुक अपॉन व्हाट काइंड ऑफ नीड इज देयर, and your basic need has been fulfilled, then you start looking into other investment. So आप अगर if you are belonging to finance field, you can do your own study, you can research work and finally decide your own portfolio. Otherwise go for passive route. Passive route means कोई systematic investment plan ले लीजिए या कोई mutual fund के other plans के through you start investing and that will give you a confidence level. थोड़ा सा क्या होगा उसमें आपको बैंक से ज्यादा बेटर रिटर्न मिलेगा। Then you go for equity kind of investment on your own, which will giving you further better. But those equity should be blue chip kind of things, very stable, good company, जो रातों रात ना आपको माला माल करेगा और ना रातों रात आपको bankrupt करेगा। Some good kind, good instruments you will take, and then finally उसके बाद आगे बढ़ के आप चाहें तो थोड़ा सा portion 5 to 10% of your total portfolio। अब उसमें भी मैं आपको बताऊं वो portfolio अपने इनकम वाला नहीं, ये कॉलेज के सैलरी वाला नहीं, बल्कि जो रिटर्न आया है उस रिटर्न में से थोड़ा सा अमाउंट निकाल के आप चाहो तो अगर डे ट्रेडिंग इंट्राडे ट्रेडिंग भी करना है, ट्रेडर की तरह बिहेव करना है, स्पेकुलेटर की तरह बिहेव करना है, वो भी कर डालो। अगर गलती से थोड़ा लूज भी हुआ तो ओवरऑल में नहीं जाएगा। एंड सेकेंड वो तो मार्केट का ही पैसा था ना। तो आई ऑलवेज बिलीव दैट वो एक भजन गाते हैं ना, आरती करते हैं, तेरा तुझको अर्पण क्या लागे मेरा, तो मार्केट का पैसा थोड़ा मार्केट में चला भी गया तो दिक्कत किस बात की है। तो लेट्स एंजॉय दैट वे। सो यू विल फाइंड आउट your thrill, your life enjoyment will not be compromised and you will have a very systematic return on a regular basis. That is what I advise.
Okay, but sir, the fixed deposit and term deposits are the same thing. The only difference is that they are not linked with the saving account, the 6-month salary. Is it?
फिक्स डिपॉजिट और टर्म डिपॉजिट दोनों एक ही टर्म है। एक्चुअली कॉमन भाषा में उसको एक आउटसाइड में कॉमन में कहते हैं और फाइनेंस में उसको टर्म डिपॉजिट कहते हैं, लेकिन सेविंग लिंक्ड और विदाउट सेविंग लिंक्ड का डिफरेंस मैं बता रहा था।
Okay, okay. And that should be there throughout. I mean, at every point of time in your life, that should be there. This is what we need to ensure.
कभी भी और नहीं कभी, अब देखिए है तो उसको कभी जरूरत भी तो पड़ सकता है ना, कभी आपको स्पेशल जरूरत पड़ गया, now you have, but treat it like your others money, and when you treat it other money तो then you return back also. होता क्या है, we are indisciplined to that extent अपने पैसे से, I'm confessing from the confessing to all, number of times in the beginning क्या होता था ना, मैं start तो कर दिया था, I was used to deposit also, but थोड़ा जरूरत पड़े तो निकाल लो पैसा, और निकालने के बाद वो टाल मटोल, because it is your own money, nobody is complaining you are not returning, but that discipline is required कि are you returning that money or not. और मैंने तो अपने बेटे के नाम पे बेटी के नाम पे भी शुरू किया और पैसा निकाल लेता था जब मर्जी होती थी, तो फिर मैंने कहा कि नो, discipline is really needed, it is their money, it should be lying there, so return back to that money. तो काम भी हो गया, नीड भी हो गई, किसी दूसरे से मांगना नहीं पड़ा, and that's the best way. That's the best exercise to have it. Okay. Finance needs discipline, we all know. And if it is an indiscipline, individual level also will become bankrupt. Corporate level, country level, global financial crisis has been just indiscipline gesture. Subprime lending had led to global financial crisis, and yet our crisis is not over. Yet, last IMF statement has come that world is at the gate of recession. Entire world is having a signal of the recession. So it is just indiscipline gesture. Behave yourself. See, India last 8-9 years, I'm very proudly saying that it has been making in the right way, and even IMF and World Bank is now saying India is the only hope. India is the brightest spot because India has started behaving, making a self-discipline. No great job, just self-discipline and right way to move without imitating others. That's the right approach. Any other question? Any one of you, please feel free to ask. Without expectation, I'll answer every question. Any other question?
Any other question from the participants? We strongly encourage you all to share your experience also about the session, current session.
The session was very good, sir. I really enjoyed your, the session. I really have a couple of 2 or more questions, but I do have, another meeting. So, but, the really good session.
Thank
And
you.
you also,
Thanks a lot.
and when, the Pratibha was reading, the biodata, there was a, the things like the algo trading and, the trading strategies that she talked about. Maybe I overheard, but it was there, the algo trading and the things were there.
Yes, yes.
Yes. So, these couples of questions are, lying in my mind, but I will discuss some other platform. Maybe I will take in your phone number from, the Department of Commerce and I will contact you
You're
later.
always welcome. You're always welcome.
But I really enjoyed your session, sir. It was really worth it to hearing it. And you really gave, the beautiful and good suggestions, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Yes, Pratibha, any other question somewhere? Now I had a budget exposure also today itself, but I had prepared for them.
Yes, sir, we have 9 minutes more.
So 9 minutes more, so little bit on the budget also. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And this is today's budget. A few hours back it has been there. See the government also how they have actually planned which ministry will get how much amount. So it is allocation. This is budget allocation has been there depending upon their priorities, their objectives. It has been set, and now Ministry of Defense again has got the highest amount. Similarly, other ministries also has kept on getting it. Similarly, from where money comes and money goes, that is also very important part. यहाँ पे ध्यान देने की जरूरत होती है कि अगर आपका मनी ज्यादा बोरोइंग से आ रहा है, जैसे इवन नाउ इट इज 34% of borrowing is there. I am comfortable with 34% of borrowing because I have kept on analyzing in the past, and even I have seen more than 54%, 55% of borrowing. So that's why in that way it is very comfortable that government is not taking too much of it. But certainly it will have got an impact, 20% of it. So if you minutely look upon, you will find out 20% of it is going to be on the interest payments. And if you have a lesser borrowings, then in that case, lesser interest payment. And interest payment time being, you can consider leakage that is there. Then similarly, other where those funds are getting allocated, which vis-a-vis previous budget. So 22-23 versus 23-24 has been fantastically compared, and it is actually indicating the intention of the government. What are the priorities of the government and where government is heading. So one who is looking at what kind of investment और आप कैसे इसको अपने फाइनेंशियल प्लान में ले सकते हैं, those companies who are into these sectors, certainly their future will be bright. So you can look upon and you can invest into those one. If suppose someone is looking for a startup or someone is looking for some that kind of a production stabilities or production capacity building, then in that case they can decide to these things also. Similarly, very important is related to this one. The individual one you look upon, हमारा जो अगला जो limit अगला जो आ रहा है, that's the way 2.5 lakh has converted into 3 lakhs. 3 lakhs income tax is nil. 3 to 6, 55%, 6 to 9, 10%, 9 to 12, 15, 12 to 15, 20%, and above 15 it is 30%. So exemption limit has been moved to 3 lakhs rupees, and those other things are also there. You'll find out here. Income limit for rebate of income tax, which was earlier for 5 lakhs, now it has increased to 7 lakhs. So these are the things which has been available there. So this is what I wanted to point out. And any question here also, I don't mind it trying on this level also. I think Pratibha ji, it is.
I think, sir, the questions are.
Sir, can you please share this PPT of today's budget? Pratibha ma'am, can you share it on the WhatsApp group maybe?
Sure, ma'am. I'll ask to sir. Sir, please allow us to share your
कर
PPT.
देंगे,
I'll just
कर देंगे, कर
get
देंगे.
it from you and
Yeah.
share it to the
Sure,
participants.
sure, sure.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Thank
Thanks a
you.
lot.
Anything else? Any question?
I think, sir, all questions have been taken already. If there is any question, you can just, participants can just speak, unmute and speak.
Okay.
If there is anyone who want to share experience related to this session can also contribute. Okay, sir. Sir, then we are moving ahead.
Okay, fine. So,
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for taking time out of your busy schedule. First of all, I'll say this. And then you, in this short span of time, you have also given insight over budget. Also, you told about 3 months, 6 months saving account link deposit, also salary towards term insurance plan, passive investments, and also you talked about the economy growing without imitating others. So all these things, they are very helpful for us for understanding various things. So thank you, sir, for bringing your expertise and experience around this STIP short-term program and engaging in such a fruitful and innovative session.
thank you.
sir.
Thanks a lot. Bye.
Yes, sir. And announcement for the participants, as it has been requested by Dr. Namita to share the assessment sheet a little early. We will try to get this thing done, but we cannot promise because we are into the process of making the assessment sheet. Even the questions are only 5, but still we are into the process. So we will share it via mail and we will keep it open till 4 p.m. tomorrow. And attendance sheet has already been circulated and taken. So the link will be given to you for the next session in the next mail. If there is any other query you can ask about NOC certificates, we have received more than 45 NOC certificates. We will be working on the participants who have not submitted yet, and we will send a mail by tomorrow. And this is the criteria for issuing a certificate for regular teachers, ad hoc teachers, and contract teachers. So it is mandatory for all 3 positions. So if you have not submitted yet, kindly submit to the same to the email ID. That's it for the.
Thank you, Pratibha. I'm leaving now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, sir, for this valuable insight, and thank you so much for the participant for listening and joining us.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. Thank you. Bye.
We are ending the call, and the link is available on YouTube. This session is also available on YouTube. I'll share the link for all 3 sessions, which was on YouTube live via mail. Okay. Thank you so much, everyone. I'm ending the session.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Pratibha ma'am. Thank you.